Hello, it's Paula here, and I wanted to talk about the Hexi page from SB. Now, this is a die set that is, well, basically one of those pages. So it is a page because it has the aperture here already, so it's not movable, it comes from the die, but it also is a hinge because that acts as a hinge or as a lock. This is one of those dies that is, so you can die cut it in here, so you can create like you know, the locking mechanism, so it kind of closes, not locking, but kind of self-closes. And of course you have got two different size locking keys, slightly different to previous ones because they have got the up and the down. As I know, sometimes it comes apart and different widths, so you have got for smaller pages. And this is word breaks, which is so again we'll have some downloads, so you can have sentiments and, you know, verses from different things, from different poems and things like that. Right, so this is 4-in-1 actually. So I'm going to die cut it now out of, so this basically make a page. So I'm going to use the lighter, actually I'm going to use for this one the medium blue. So I'm going to go for it, and you will see that it fits into an A4. Now, I know this is basil cards, and it kind of tends to, even low tack tape, it will kind of remove itself a little bit, or, you know, damage it a little bit. So the top tip is always to put the die, the tape on the side, and I'm gonna put it through my die cutting machine. Now it is an A4 die cutting machine, sorry, an A4 die, so you need an A4 die cutting machine for this one, because it gives you that size, is that larger size. The hexagon also will fit within the book, and I'm going to show you how the book is fine, because it's designed to be 5 by 7, the long hexi. Right, so when we could have it out, right, so we have that die. Now I'm gonna say this is, it's one of those ones that took me ages to decide, because I was going to do it bigger here, so not so flimsy, but at the end it didn't look right, so at the end I settled for this. If you are using anything like paper 120 GSM or less, I would definitely use washi tape, even, you know, just to kind of make it a little bit stronger. Should be okay with this sort of width. And then of course this is what I meant by die cutting a second time, or you can do it in the first time if you wanted to. Position this in here, and that aperture, that will create the aperture for that, but I'm not going to do it just yet. So you have got that one. Then you have got 3 more ways you can trim off if you don't need that. Then you have got the other way to do this one, is to score it down the middle, or fold it down the middle. Haven't folded very well. And then, for instance, in this case, I just want the long hexi page. So what you do in that case is just place it there, and of course you follow that scoring line, cutting line there, and secure it. Now if it's not that tape, again, the tape with this one, you just need to make sure that you put it that in place, and you have to make sure that you can see that you still catch the aperture there, otherwise you won't create a page. So again, just run it through the die cutting machine. Now here is where you don't want necessarily to die cut it out of 300 GSM cardstock, because obviously it's double-sided, so that means that will be 600 GSM. Now this dies had very nice thick card, but maybe you know, 600 GSM is a little bit too much. Or maybe you run it twice through the die cutting machine, that might happen as well. So I have got now that. So that creates the page. You can see the page with that one, and again you can keep that in if you wanted to create it, or you can do what I'm going to do now, which is just to trim it down there. So now I have got this page, which is going to go inside, and it's going to still do, you could trim it a little bit if you wanted to make sure that this kind of around, but because it has the scoring lines you wouldn't need to, so you still will work perfectly. And you can see that there is that nice edge all around it. This has been designed so those angles are identical, so the extra dies that are in the collection will also work with that perfectly. Now I wanted to create the hinge. Now to create the hinge, I wanted to create a hinge that holds the whole book together. I'm sorry, this is a little bit dirty, but it doesn't matter, it will come. And then, so what I'm going to do is, again, fold it in half. And again, I'm using 216 GSM. This is basil card that unfortunately it's really hard to find. And now what we need is the opposite. So I kind of want, what we need to do in here is basically, sorry, I was doing it wrong, the scoring line in one of those ones. So you can do it whatever way you want to have, but you want to have at least one scoring line in here. I'm going to go in for not the cutting line, just inside the cutting line, and just making sure that it's quite right, quite straight. Just gonna put it in here. So I'm securing it with tape, turn it around, just making sure that that kind of goes in there. So again, that's the important thing, that the scoring line is there. And again, run it through the die cutting machine. So let's put it there. And so this is why I took a little bit of that, you know, designing wise, took a little bit of time to come up with the perfect angles and everything else. Now coming up next, I'm going to take it out of the die cutting machine, and then taking it out. So again, this one I have made a really big scoring line, which probably I shouldn't necessarily do, but of course if you want, so that can go in. So it's up to you how you score it inside. So I kind of do it a little bit there. So I want a little bit of a more of a kind of book, kind of, not spine, but yeah, a little bit of a spine, you know what I mean, that sort on the outside, and that creates the perfect spine for these pages in here. Now if you wanted to, of course you can then do a perfect hexagon if you wanted to create a perfect hexagon page. So instead of having this one, which is a long hexi, you can do the same by folding this in half and just do it that way. And of course you can do that out of vellum and something else. Now I have done a kind of a long one, but still I can use one of these kind of what is it? I'm gonna grab it. I have it somewhere. One of these locking tags, and this is what I have got here. So I have got two more, and you can still use this one if you put it in here, locking in there, locking that way. So it kind of that locks it there, and you can still use those thinner one even if you have got a lot more there. But remember, when we put the piece here, this is when you can say, well, I don't want that bigger element. So if you put it like this, then you'll have a thinner hinge that doesn't come that much. So this is designed so you can then put lots of pages if you wanted to, or you can use maybe a tag or something else that you have. Now matching dies from the collection are these snowflakes, so that one will cut, so you can see that you can use it like this because it's half an hexagon, or you know that, well, it's more than half. You can still use it with the smaller one, and you, or the regular hexagon, so you could die cut this out of here. And there are pages here, there's lots of pages that I have die cut here, and panels as well. So you are gonna get the perfect long hexagon that will match. Hexagons I haven't done next in because everybody has got, well, if not, there's lots of different options in there. But basically this is how it works, and you can see that I have got you know, vellum in here that you could put, and there's, I think I die cut it, a perfect hexagon page as well. So as you can see, you can then put all these ones in here. So there's basically, it's a 4-in-1. You can do the hinge, the long hexi, the hexagon page, or the, you know, roll of hexi with the other one. And of course you have always that kind of lock-in mechanism if you want. I hope that it has explained how this die works. And anyway, so this is the Miss P long hexi page die set.